Welcome everyone, thanks for joining me today. So today I'm going to be drawing this cool little church or castle, whatever it is. And I decided to start out right with the pen work here. I skipped over the pencil sketch. It's not really a big deal. So we're just going with the line work here. In the ink, I did like a 5-minute pencil sketch before this, figured out the placement, proportions, everything from the reference photo. And then now I'm just going in with a fine liner and getting in some of the line work here, the initial line work. And I'm just having fun with it. That's really what it comes down to. And you can see how I'm doing these lines, not really being too careful about it, because I know later on I'm going to end up painting over all this. And then, there's more to be done here. But yeah, I just like enjoying the process and having fun with it. And don't worry about, see these straight lines that I'm drawing straight down? Don't worry about in your drawings trying to make things too straight or too perfect. It gives your drawing character if you just freely draw and make things a little funky. Just be bold about it, be confident, and just draw lines. Straight lines are really more interesting if they're not perfectly straight. Now, everybody draws differently, so there could be some people that are like, no, I really want my lines to be straight, and they want everything to be perfect, so to speak, or very accurate, and that's fine. You can draw that way. But for those of us who are just having fun sketching and having fun with our art like this, and not too picky about being super accurate, then make your lines, a little funky like that. It's fun. It adds a lot of character. And something to think about with the first, I do the line work, just kind of a first pass. I'll do everything the same width, and I'm going to speed up the process here because you kind of get the idea of how I'm drawing the lines. I do everything just the same width. There's really no variety in the line work yet. And that's okay. That's a good kind of first stage of starting out. And then now I'm going to go over to some areas. I'm going to add in some dark, some of the darkest darks in the entire drawing, which there's not a whole lot, but I'm using a brush pen here. So we're going to get some thicker, darker black lines. Really nice. These always bring the drawing more to life for me. Really gives it some contrast and some variety. Like I was just talking about, variety in the line work. And later on in the process, you'll see that I'll go back in with some of the line work, thicken up some of the areas, create some variety. But I don't want to get ahead of myself here. We're just going to focus on the brush pen for a bit, adding in some of the darkest darks, some of the windows underneath the roof, here and there. You guys get the idea. Not anything too difficult here. Being a little more careful, but see how I'm doing some variety there. And we'll speed up the rest of this. Not much more to go. Now the next step in the process, I'm using a gray, actually I'm using a light gray watercolor brush pen. I really like this tone. It's really nice, works well with the ink drawings, and it's a lot of fun to use. You can easily shade something and get a large area without having to do like hatching or any kind of shading technique like that. You can just use like this gray tone. And I really enjoy using these. So probably something I'm definitely going to keep using. So yeah, this process, not too difficult either. You just fill in some of the shadow areas. And we'll speed that up here slightly. This subject is mostly in light, so there's not a whole lot of shadow. So luckily, I'm going to be painting over this one, so that'll create a lot of variety and make it more dynamic. So I decided that I'm going to go back in with some of the line work. And I felt that this building was a little too plain. I felt like, okay, it needs some details. So I was kind of looking at the photo reference, and there's these little black dots everywhere. I'm not really sure what it is, some kind of architectural feature. So I started putting some of those in, and then eventually I did some, which you guys will see here soon, shortly. I did some horizontal and vertical lines and also some brick shapes for it. And I felt like it just brought it more to life, gave it a little more texture to this whole entire building. And I just feel like it kind of needed that. Otherwise it just looked too plain, almost unfinished. I'm not a huge detail guy, but sometimes I'm really understanding that sometimes it's necessary in these drawings. So here you can see adding a little bit more detail just to give an idea of texture here and there. You know, it's something I'm still experimenting with and playing around with. So once I was happy with kind of the ink work, now I'm going in with the color. And this was actually the first time I ever added color to a pen and ink drawing like this, at least in this manner. I've added color to other drawings like in the background and stuff, but this is more of like an urban sketching technique. You can see when I'm leaving little white spaces and the way that I'm applying the paint, I'm doing this very intentionally. So I'm leaving gaps. I want it to look sketchy. I want it to look less finished. And I'm kind of spraying with a spray bottle there, misting, adding some more mist water to the paper just to get things moving. But the way that I'm painting this is very intentional. So I'm trying not to fill in every area. I'm trying not to overwork it. And for this particular scene, I'm only using 2 colors. So I'm using Viridian and Transparent Red Oxide. So I'm using Viridian for the roof with a little bit of Transparent Red Oxide mixed in, so it kind of warms up the green. I'm going to try to mix those together a little bit here and there, let things run down and merge. I just had a lot of fun with this, and something I realized that was very difficult for me was that my painting brain, while I was painting this, my painting brain wanted to keep finishing the drawing with paint. I wanted to like start painting in shadows and get more detailed and painting and everything. I really had to stop myself and try to be loose and keep it as loose as possible and as fun as possible. But this was really freeing, actually. We'll speed up the rest of it here, not a lot to add, just touches here and there. But I felt it was really freeing to me. And there's after the paint dried. And I decided, you know, I looked at it for a while. I didn't really want to overwork this drawing or sketch, whatever you want to call it, this kind of urban sketching indoors. I was really afraid of overworking this one, but I just felt like, you know what, it needs some darker shadowing to bring this thing to life. So now I'm using kind of a mid-tone or a darker gray watercolor brush pen. And I'm just adding in those shadows, basically the same shadows that I added in earlier with that light gray watercolor brush pen. You know, I really didn't know if that would show through after the painting process or not. Like I said, this was my first time doing this, kind of adding color to a sketch in this manner. So everything was new to me, experimenting, faced new challenges, trying not to overwork this thing, trying not to make it too complex. I wanted to have some energy, some life to it. And I feel like for my own paintings and my own type of style, I'd like to have things look a little unfinished or have those little gaps, those little white gaps everywhere, a little sketchy. And to me, it gives it more energy, so to speak. It's hard to explain it. It makes it look more alive, like I did it quickly. Even though we all know that I didn't do it quickly. As you can see, I'm taking my time here, being quite careful about it. But I want it to look like I did it quickly, like it's just a sketch. And we'll speed this little part up here for you guys. Little touch of magic there, magic speed up. Now I thought, okay, this thing looks done. Then I realized, you know what? It really wouldn't be a Schaefer Art sketch, am I right, if I didn't add some splattering. For the folks out there who follow me, you guys know, all of my paintings and stuff, I always, if I can, I try to add some splattering. So as you can see, I'm adding some like dark brown and then Viridian. Transparent red oxide and then Viridian. So same colors, just adding some splattering. This gives more life, more energy, more texture to the painting, to the drawing. And I'm just using a paper towel at the top to kind of like a napkin to kind of cover the rest of the drawing where I don't want any splattering to end up being. So I'm just kind of splattering around where the foliage is and a little bit on the building here and there. And once those dried, once the splatters dried, then one last step, going back to the line work again. And this is where I want to bring back some of the line work. Because I kind of lost it with all the other process with the painting and everything. Can't really see any of the line work now. So I just want to thicken up some areas, some kind of key areas that I feel that need thickening up. It's kind of just an intuitive process. It's hard to really explain what I'm doing here. I'm just going by what I feel and always being aware not to overwork it. But this is really the last 5%, 3% of the drawing. You guys will see the finished drawing here in a second. And we'll speed up the rest of this line work process, and we'll see the final drawing here. Let me know what you guys think down below. Hope you enjoyed this video. This was really fun for me and one of my favorite drawings to this day. So thanks for watching. Take care of yourself. I'll see you on the next one. Peace.